Now that I got it, they all have something.
That was a great job, man. You're like super high energy, man.
So I need to show her one. Yeah.
Okay, hi
Hi,
Dana.
Dana.
Okay, and then, okay, so I will just let you go to town and
Cool.
play and
Awesome.
make sure they talk out loud. So you guys might
Yeah,
want
can you hear
to
me?
come in closer and be with her.
Oh, is this on? Oh, Dana, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, everything should be going through Mr. Owl here.
Cool. For practice. Okay, for practice. Good. Okay, Steph, could you make 2 copies of all of these? Yep. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to wait to make copies because I didn't know how many I needed to make. Well, thanks for showing up. It's kind of nice that we have, there's 2 people here, and Dana's on Zoom with us. I like that there's only 3 of us here because it makes it more intimate and helps us to be more close with the script practicing and the role play. Well, my name is Alyson Marr. I've been an individual agent here for now almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in April. I started with KW North Shore in 2017, then left to go to a small brokerage in January of 2018. I was there for about 10 months and then realized that I needed to come back to KW. So that is when I joined the New Berlin Market Center. So I've been here since like the fall of 2018. So yeah, I would love to start out with affirmations. The 2 that come to mind are just saying, I am a great realtor. So let's say that all together. I am a great realtor. Yes. And today's focus is going to be all about listings because we all know that we need more inventory. So the other affirmation is going to be, I can get any listing I want. All right. So let's say it together. I can get any listing I want. Yes. My another affirmation for me too is so speaking in front of people is actually really difficult for me. And so an affirmation for me is people need to hear the information I want to share. So because when we're making it about us, that's when it gets nerve-wracking. But when it's all about serving other people and the people in front of us, then that takes the pressure off of us because then we're not thinking selfishly. So the main focus today, like I said, listings. We're going to go over basically the entire process of what getting a listing is. So we're going to script practice the pre-listing phone call that you have when somebody calls and says, hey, I got your name from so-and-so. I want to list my house. You don't just just say, okay, great. When are you available? I'll be over Tuesday. Click. There's a script around what questions to ask so you are best prepared for that time. So you have some motivation from the seller, you understand their timing more, you get to know their personality through how they're responding to the questions. All of that is very important. And then we'll touch on the actual listing appointment and what to say during the listing appointment. There's a script around that. And then we'll go over the scripts around objection handling. So whenever somebody says, well, I don't want to pay you 6%, what are you going to say? How are you going to handle that objection? And then just a little bonus to go on top of that, I wanted to talk about personality matching too, because we can practice script breaks. We can practice our scripts. However, there also comes a time where you just have to kind of go off the scripts a little bit and not follow them to a T because your personality matching, and sometimes sellers are with a different personality, they don't want to hear the whole spiel. Sometimes they're just a very driven analytical person and they just want to get to the facts right away. Let's sign the paperwork, let's go. So we'll go over a little bit of the personality stuff too. I'm just waiting for Steph to get back with the copies and we'll start, but I'd like to get to know a little bit about you guys. So you said Stephanie, is your name? Stephanie, okay. So what's your last name?
Davis.
Stephanie Davis, okay. So are you newly licensed?
Newly licensed.
Yep.
This is definitely a career change. I came from medical billing for 20 plus years.
Okay.
So this will be definitely outside my wheelhouse.
Cool. So why real estate?
I will email the two online. I
Okay,
made an extra copy for myself, so.
okay, awesome.
I just wanted something where I have a little bit more freedom for myself. I didn't want to I was tired of being dictated on, especially after I lived here, moved to Florida, and then came back because I'm an only child, so I need to look after my parents. But I was tired of like, okay, well, you only get this many hours of PTO time. And, oh, well, you can put in your PTO, but it may or may not get approved. I wanted that freedom to be able to do what I want, when I want, especially when it comes to my family
Yeah,
time.
awesome. And you said Latika?
Tanika.
Tanika, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Well, I am not newly licensed, but I'm newly real estate. I've actually had my license for over 10 years. Funny thing is, I've never used it. I have no clue how to sell or buy a home.
Okay.
I've never done it. I had it at the previous job that I worked at for 17 years that shut down December 31st and left me with nothing. So it pushed me out to, I was working 17 years. I'm like, I kind of want to be me and do me and not have anybody else dictating kind of the same thing Steph just said on how I do things. So my husband and I sat down and had a talk and I said, hey, I need to use this license. The company paid for it and they paid for my CE for all these many years. So now it's time to use it.
Yeah, wonderful, great. All right. Dana, Michael, and Nikki are joining us on Zoom. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, so the handout that you guys have first is why now is the best time to sell your house. So I'm sure you have received those objections from friends, family, or just in general, people are saying, yeah, we want to wait till spring. So here are a few things, a few objection handlers around that to focus on selling now because we need listings, right? I also, so you guys on the screen, I crossed out wherever it says holiday, I crossed it off and put winter, just because that's obviously more relevant. So okay. So number one, why now is the best time to sell your house? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are motivated buyers in the market that must buy for tax reasons. Or during the winter season, there are typically less homes on the market. Less supply means less competition. Less competition means more money in your pocket. Many people have time off during the winter, which increases their availability to see homes. Buyers that buy during the winter season tend to be serious buyers. All right, do you guys want to, Stephanie, I'll have you do number 4.
Buying is an emotional purchase, and emotions tend to run high during the winter season. Strategically, having the opportunity to work off the buyer's emotion is in your favor. They tend to offer a higher price when emotions are involved.
Good. Let's do number 6, because that's more relevant too. So Tanika, do you want to do that one?
Sure. The interest rates are incredibly low, which allows a buyer to afford more in the market. When rates are low, buyers tend to present higher purchase offers.
Mhm. Good. All right, let's jump down. Well, actually, number 7, we can just kind of revise that a little bit to where we currently are in the year. So many sellers will wait and list after January, which causes a lot of new inventory. The longer you wait, the more competition you create for yourself. You can expect a flood of new inventory in the first quarter of 2022. As supply increases, your likelihood of getting an offer at an acceptable price decreases. So in our area, everybody thinks spring market is March or April, right? That's when the general public thinks is an appropriate time to sell your house. So right now, if we are telling our sellers, February is the time to sell, because waiting for March and April, that's when everybody else is going to sell. So buyers are going to have more to choose from, which would not be in your favor. All right. Stephanie, why don't you do number 9?
Companies typically bring in new talent starting at the beginning of the year. These new hires are looking for property now. You must be in the market to take advantage of these buyers.
All right, and number 10, Tanika.
Selling now can give you more buying power later. By selling your home now, you can buy after January, when the market becomes saturated with listings as a non-contingent buyer. This gives you negotiating power.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to our pre-qualifying script, which I actually don't have on the screen for you guys. I apologize. But it's never mind. You guys are not, I don't know where the camera is now. It's the Glover U seller pre-qualifying script. So I can email it all to you guys if you'd like on the screen. So
Is there a place where these scripts are located? We can
yes, they should all be in the one spot for resources on Google Drive. But if you cannot find it, I'd be happy to just email the PDF to you. So, seller calls. Hey, Stephanie, I heard your name from Joe Smith, and we want you to sell our house. Okay, actually, why don't you ask me?
Okay.
So, we'll do a role play here really quick. You are the seller, I am the realtor. So you call, let's just make it up. Ring, ring.
Hey, Alyson, I got your number from Kelly, and she was saying that you were in real estate, and I was thinking about possibly selling our house.
Okay, great. Well, I'll have to thank Kelly for the referral. So let me ask you, when are you thinking of making a move?
Probably like the March time.
Okay, sounds great. And what is your availability next week, Wednesday at 6 o'clock?
I should be available.
Okay, sounds great. Well, before I come out, there are a few questions I need to ask you, okay?
Okay.
If what I say makes sense and you feel absolutely comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to get started with me when I come out on Wednesday?
I probably need to talk it over with my husband if he can't make it, but otherwise, yeah, I think we should be able to.
Okay, wonderful. Are you looking to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home?
I wasn't planning on
Okay. So tell me again, where are you moving to?
it. Florida,
Okay, and what takes you there?
the weather.
All right. Yes, I can see why. And how soon do you have to be there?
We don't really have a timeline that's more contingent upon the sale of our house.
Okay. And, okay. So when I see you, how much do you want to list your home for?
I've seen houses in the area for like 250 around there, so I'm not really sure what exactly our house would go for, but I would assume somewhere around that area.
Okay. And how much do you owe on the property?
We owe about 175.
Okay, great, thank you. I skipped number 7. It says, have you ever thought about selling it yourself? I just don't want to even put that thought in their head. They're like, oh, I never thought of that, well, maybe I should. No, we'll skip over that one. All right, number 8. So would you please describe the home for me?
Yeah, we have 3 bedrooms. It's a 1.5 bath, attached garage. We just refinished the kitchen about 5 years ago. Put all new cabinetry and hardware and countertops. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same as it was when we got it.
Okay, great. I will be emailing over a package of information. Will you take a few minutes and review that before we meet?
Sure.
Okay. And finally, will all the decision makers be there?
I believe so. I'll have to get with my husband, but yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions before I arrive?
Is there anything that you need from me?
Just the Google form I'll be sending out. Make sure that's filled out before our time together on Wednesday.
Okay.
Great. So our meeting should only take 15 to 30 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So how did that sound to you guys? Was it too many questions? Was it just enough? And feel free, anybody on Zoom can chime in too. I'm not really paying attention to the chat if you're ever putting anything in there.
I think it was a lot of the right questions, so it wasn't too many because they were good questions.
Right. Yeah, the more questions we ask, the better. And you notice I didn't add any of my own comments. You know, I wasn't making it like, oh, that's great. Oh, you know, what did you do in the kitchen? And, you know, I just kept on script. That's why it's called a script, to help us with the bullet points to stay on task. And I already know that I'll probably get the listing from how easy that conversation was. You made it pretty easy on me. So I already know she's probably a what's the disc profile? She's probably an I. And yeah, it's very easy. So that was, those are pretty much the basic questions that I ask over the phone. And then I have a Google form that I send out to them that basically gets more into detail on square footage and more detail about the house itself. And then also it asks questions like, what are the 3 top expectations from your realtor? How do you like to be communicated with? How often would you like to be communicated with? Details like that. So, so we don't have to cover any of that when I'm there. And when we're there, we can just strictly focus on stats and walking through the house and getting the listing contract signed. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into listings, and really when you're at the listing appointment, that's the best time to build the rapport as well. So that's also the focus. So you're not asking all of these questions there. You're more so listening to how they're responding and getting to know their personality so you can match it really well. So they feel comfortable with you. So that makes it easier for you to get the listing contract signed. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Alyson. I'm very curious on if the answer was flipped for number 2. Are you looking to interview more than one agent? If they say yes, like,
I would then ask, so the question was if they answered yes to, are you looking to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? If they said yes, I would then ask, okay, great, when are the other agents? When are you interviewing the other agents? If they had given me a time of before Wednesday, I would then encourage our meeting to be pushed before they meet with the other agents. You want to interview first. So then there's an objection handler that will go over to object if they're interviewing other agents and how we can overcome that. Yeah, always want to be first. Yeah. But great question. All right, so the next one is the actual listing presentation. So Dana, I know that we've gone over this plenty of times. It's actually the Diana Kokoska presentation. Which I'm not gonna play this whole video just because it's 35 minutes long, but I did want to. It's so old, but she is so good. She's just like, you can learn so much from her. Okay, so you guys have this ready, the listing presentation conversation. So it always starts out as, well, first of all, you're always on time. Don't ever come too early, and obviously never be late. Always try to be right on time. So, so the opening line, we'll go over the this first page here, and then I'll pause it. Okay, we'll stop it there. How did you think that sounded?
Yeah, that was good.
Confident.
Yeah, I
don't
know,
about
right?
I don't know about asking them for water.
Yeah, I know. And again, this is bullet points, but I want you to personalize it too. And maybe that was just what she did because it worked for her, but
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that either. I do believe though, if they offer you or if they ask, I think accepting it is always nice to do because it feels like they're serving you in their home and it makes them feel comfortable. So, let's do page 1 of the listing presentation. And let's see. Why don't you guys, let's try to think if you should do it together or with me. Okay. Tamika, I'll have you be the seller and I'll be the realtor. And we'll go from there. Okay. So, hi Tamika, I'm Alyson with Keller Williams, and we had a 1:30 appointment, and it is 1:30. May I come in? Sure. All right, thank you. Well, thank you so much for inviting me over. I am so excited that you've decided to list your house with me today. May we sit at the kitchen table?
Yes.
Okay. So Tamika, I would like to take a quick look through your home so I can see it through the eyes of a buyer since you won't be there during the showings. Trust me, it won't take long. I've done this so many times and I'll see everything a buyer will see. I'll take great notes, and then after you list your house with me, you can point out all the things in the house that make it special for you. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay, great, thank you. And while I tour the house, you will, if you can fill out this seller survey, that would save us time. And the seller survey, I don't know if that's necessarily, you can have them fill out anything that you have, but I don't really have a seller survey. I do it really quickly. It's like not even a 10-minute walkthrough, maybe 5 minutes. So
What does the survey even say?
I don't know. There's not anything that was given to us for relevance. So I'm not totally positive, but it could be, I could bring out a sheet that is part of my Google form that would say like, what are your 3 expectations of the realtor? And they would list that. Or they could like fill out the list of improvements that they've done on the house. Like whatever you want to present to them, that's totally up to you guys. Okay, so I go through the house and that's, yeah, we go over to the next page. Oh, do you guys have the double-sided?
Yes.
Does it do 3 goals? 2? Yeah? Okay, good. All right. See if we can watch the rest here. This. Okay. So let's go through the number 2, the 3 goals. So Stephanie, why don't you ask Tamika those 3 questions? We'll just go through the number 2. And so you're the realtor and you're the seller.
So just like read them or?
Yeah. Mhm.
So we're gonna go and review your motivation to sell this house now and agree on a price that will cause you to sell in today's market. We'll take a moment and I'll answer any questions you have, and tonight we'll decide whether you want to work with me and decide if I will want to take your listing. That doesn't always happen. For instance, you may not choose to set a price that will help your house sell, or you may agree that my recommendations to get it done or get it ready for the market. And Tanika, I would rather let you down than to disappoint you later if I cannot meet your goal. Does that sound fair enough?
Yes. Sounds fair.
Now I want you to pretend that you're the seller. I'm sorry, the realtor, and Stephanie is the seller. I do want you to start with the Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I have a great deal of respect for you and your investment of time. And do a little pause in between each question.
Ms. Davis. I have a great deal of respect for you and your investment of time. In fact, we have only 3 goals for our meeting today. 1, we're going to review your motivation to sell this house now and agree on a price that will cause it to sell in today's market. Then we'll take a moment and I'll answer any questions you have. And then we will decide tonight whether you want to work with me. And I'll decide if I want to take your listing. That doesn't happen a lot. For instance, you may not choose to set a price that will help your house to sell, or you may not agree on my recommendations to get it ready to enter the market. Ms. Davis, I would much rather let you down now than disappoint you later if I cannot meet your goal. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the number 3, we'll decide tonight whether or not, or whether you want to work with me, and I'll decide if I want to take your listing. I know that's a kind of a uncomfortable statement, but if they don't say anything about it, you don't have to continue with your explanation. You just move on to the next section. So the 3 critical questions. So we're going to continue on with the video. All right. She's so good. Okay, so the pre-qualifying number 4 is really reviewing the motivation that we heard over the phone when we did the pre-qualifying questions. So Stephanie, I had the opportunity to speak with you on the phone last week and asked you a few questions to better help prepare for this evening. May I review those questions now to make certain I thoroughly understand your circumstances to sell your house?
Sure.
Okay, great. You said you were moving to Florida, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. And you needed to be there. You said you don't have a specific time yet?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, sounds good. So there's flexibility with timing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what's important to you about going down to Florida?
Just being in the better weather, obviously, and then being closer to my husband's family.
Okay. And why is that important to you?
Because I'm tired of the cold.
Yeah, I hear that. So ultimately, you are in Florida by a time we haven't yet figured out, and you've gotten closer to your husband's family and in the warmer weather. So ultimately, what will all that do for you?
That'll make me happy. I don't have to deal with shoveling snow anymore.
Yeah. And honestly, doesn't your family deserve all that?
I do.
Yeah. So great. My goal is to make that happen for you. And if you are as committed as I am, then you will be in Florida closer to your family. So I appreciate you being serious about getting your house sold. Let's start by looking at what is happening in the marketplace today. So when you see those 3 dots before the words and then all capitalized, that is really telling you to make an embedded command that they're commenting on here, which means pause a little bit before you say it and then kind of make it a little more exaggerated. And so great. My goal is to make that happen for you. So it's a little more dramatic. All right, so looking at number 5, presenting the market statistics. Have either of you guys been on the listing appointment yet? Okay. Okay, so obviously it was a very different market during that time. So we're gonna focus on the conversation around if it was a seller's market. So Tamika, as I mentioned before, people are being told that the market is hot and everything is selling. And as a professional, I watch the market daily. So today there are 10 homes on the market in your area. Last week, 8 sold. That means 2 didn't sell and are still on the market. Yeah, skip over that one. So what we need to do today is agree on a price, one that makes certain that your house is positioned to sell in the desired time frame, so we can get you to Florida, be closer to your family, rather than being in the unsold category. And if we price it right, then we could have multiple offers. And if we overprice it, well, it sits on the market. So you understand that in today's market, we are entering a competition, right? Okay. All right. Any questions around that? A lot of sellers in this market are being a little unrealistic about pricing because of the current market that we're in. You know, everyone is telling them that, oh, you could get 400,000 for your house, and realistically it's a $350,000 house. So we have to, if we have that objection from them, if they're being unrealistic, we have to really encourage them that it's still, if nothing happens in the first week, then buyers start to question what's wrong with the house, and then it just almost becomes a stale listing. So we want to, I always tell my sellers, we have one opportunity to make a great first impression. And that's, you know, over the first few days. So, all right, let's see what else she has. Okay, let's just go off the script. Because this is really, they're basing it off of a buyer's market, which we are definitely not in. So really choosing comparable properties at the listing appointment is crucial to present to them during that time. So I always print out the MLS sheets, and so they have something physically in front of them. I know some agents do it on an iPad or do it all computerized, but I like to have it, the MLS sheet in front of them, and then I'll actually highlight the square footage and the list price, the sell price, the sold date, so to have something tangible to understand. Let's see here. Okay, so Stephanie, so let's look at how you're going to win that competition, and let's look at what we're competing against. So I will present to you about like 3 comparables, and I'll say, have you seen any of these houses?
Just the one down the street.
Okay. And if you had to choose one of these houses, which one would you choose to buy?
Probably this 4th one.
Okay. And why did you choose that one?
Because I like the way they did the bathroom, and it looks like it's spacious.
Okay. And I understand, you know, Stephanie, buyers are just like you. They buy the house that they see as the best value for what they want and need. Are you aware of how buyers determine value?
No.
Okay. Well, it's much like buying anything. Let's say a car. You go to one dealer and the car you want is $29,000. You, like everyone, like to save money. So you go to another dealer where you see the same car for $29,000. Only this one has leather, a sunroof, and a navigation system. Which one will you buy?
The one with 4 items.
Exactly. Because it gives you more for the same price, more features and benefits. Now, let's say you really didn't care about the leather sunroof and navigation system. What would you expect the other store to do if you were to buy their car?
Lower their price.
Exactly. See, the buyers will be choosing the same way that you just did. See, most buyers in this type of market view 8 to 10 homes before they decide to buy. They compare houses much like you did tonight. So in essence, your house is competing against 8 to 10 houses at any given time. The buyers walk through the house after house after house, and they look for the one that offers the most features and benefits for the least amount of money. That's what we call value in the eyes of a buyer. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So buyers like yourselves either look for more features for the same price or a lesser price. Whichever it is, it's all about price. So based on these comparable houses, this one priced at 300, this one at 320, and this one at 350, what do you feel we should price your house at so it is positioned in this market to outperform any and all other properties for sale?
Maybe 335.
Okay, great. And I actually would suggest that as well. So we're gonna move on to the close right away because there's no, we agree on a price, so like, let's go. No other messing around. If they did have the objection, you could go into the, if they're unrealistic, explaining the stock share. You guys wanna look at that. All right, let's see. I can keep this. Hey. Just close. Come on. I hear her. gonna go over every single objection in this video, so. We'll get there ourselves. She's handling it very well. So, I'd like to just finish with number 6, close and get the signatures. And, Stephanie, why don't you pretend to be the realtor, Tamika, you're the seller, and go through number 6 with starting with, many agents will list your house, and they do what I call the 3 Ps.
Mika, many agents will list your house and they will do what I call the 3 Ps of real estate. They'll place a sign in the multiple listing, they'll place a sign in your yard, and then pray that someone else will sell it. But I'll do the 4th and the 5th Ps, which are prospect for buyers every day and also price watch. So tell me, what features do you absolutely want to make sure we highlight in your, did I skip anything? Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So tell me, what features do you absolutely want to make sure we list, we highlight on your listing that you have enjoyed the most?
I finished facing.
Okay. Now, all we need to do is go ahead and sign this contract so that you can get to Florida where you want to be and in your new home or whatever.
Or whatever you said.
Be in Florida with your in-laws.
All right, great. And then Tamika, why don't you try being the realtor and Stephanie will be your seller.
Okay. So it's still on number 6.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Stephanie, many agents will list your house and they do what I call the 3 Ps, excuse me, the 3 Ps of real estate. They will place your house in multiple listing. They will place a sign in your yard, and then they will pray someone else will sell it. Well, I do the 4th and 5th Ps, which are, I will prospect for your buyers every day, and I will price watch. So tell me, what features do you absolutely want to make sure we highlight when you're listing?
Sorry.
On your listing that you have enjoyed the most?
Probably my refinished kitchen.
Okay, perfect. Well, Stephanie, all we need to do now is sign the contract. So you can get on to Florida in the nice weather with your husband's family and all that.
Awesome. Great. So let's move on to objections. So we are go over these bold objections. Okay, any questions so far that you guys can think of? Is this helping?
Yeah, I mean, it's all like, new. I mean, I've done
Yeah.
scripts in past like jobs, but like
Uh-huh.
just getting into the flow.
Yeah.
is gonna be-
Yeah, I mean, when you first start, it's like, well, what am I gonna say when I show up to their door? You have to have something that will guide you through it. And you're in control when you show up. You're the one that they're going to be listening to, not the other way around. So this is going to build confidence so that way they can tell that you know what you're talking about and they trust you. So that's the goal, right?
So now I have a question just about the process. Like, we just closed, not closed, but she signed the listing contract. So now is this where she gives me a tour through the house, or is that like a separate? Because right now I only took I walked it myself.
Nope, you don't do it together.
Okay.
Yeah, so all it is you walking through the house through the eyes of a buyer. Yeah, and a note on that, if they're really persistent with walking you through the house, I've done it before and it's fine. However, you have to be really careful with how you're reacting when you're walking through the house. If they're the type of people that are gonna be explaining every single thing that they've done, and you're reacting like, oh, wow, yeah, oh, this is nice, oh my goodness, then you're affirming into their heads that you can get that, or that they can get so much money, or like prices going up and up and up and up
Yeah,
in their heads.
Right, without you even saying it.
Yeah, so if you do walk through the house with them, just try to be as quiet as possible. And, you know, I wouldn't even ask any questions during that time. Just take your notebook, make notes, listen. But if you, it's like a rabbit hole. If you start asking questions and reacting, then you're gonna be there for 2 hours.
The part in the script where they were, where she was presenting the other houses in, that she pulled from MLS, is that a time where you may talk about some of the things that you saw, especially if they happen to think that their house is $1 million home and, you know, they want to price really high? Is that, do you ever go into any type of
Sure.
like detail?
Sure, yeah, if there's like a deterrent that might cause them to get a lower price because of, yeah. I suppose, yeah, at that time, if they're really fighting me on the price, then I could bring up, you know, well, there is the deterrent of you being on a busy road that also is reflected on the price as well. Or if their roof is leaking, or, you know, if there's things that are defective in the property, then I could bring it up at that time. Yeah. Yeah, great questions. All right, so the listing objection handlers. I have come across this one quite a bit because, you know, I think there's like what, 4,000 to 5,000 realtors in the metro MLS. So it's like everybody knows at least 7 realtors. So Stephanie, I'll be your agent. So why don't you give me my first objection?
We're thinking about actually listing West Shore West, since we don't really see too many signs of KW around.
Oh, okay. Are you doing number 2?
Yeah, I just spend it a
Okay.
little.
Yeah, that's good. You're challenging me. Okay, so other than thinking about listing with Shore West, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today?
Not really, I guess it's just more of you see more of its presence than Keller Williams.
Sure. Okay, and I can appreciate that. In fact, thank you for bringing that up. As we think about who really sells a house, it is the agent, not the company, right? Okay. I'm actually gonna do a little spin off on this because I don't like their objection here. So on most of the Shore West signs, they actually have the office number that directs them to a receptionist. The receptionist transfers to the cell phone number of the agent, and most of the time the agent doesn't pick up. On my for sale sign, it has my name, my cell phone number, and my email address. So anybody who calls that sign, it will go directly to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so really, would you agree that it's not the company who sells your house, it's the agent?
Yeah, true.
Okay. All right.
That was good.
So,
I needed that one. When I was just telling one of my family members, yes, I'm a realtor now with KW. And like, KW, ooh, even my mom, she's like, are they new? I'm like, no, mom, they're not new. I said, now you'll start seeing the signs because now it's in your
right.
mind. But it made me think like, because I actually didn't see a lot either. I just loved KW because somebody else told me about it. So that was.
Well, because even with me driving around, like when I was interviewing brokerages, it was like, okay, well, whose signs am I seeing a lot of? I see a lot of Shore West. I see a handful of Keller Williams. and then very little of EXP, and very little of First Weber, the other ones I interviewed with. So I was like, okay, well, based off of that, but still, what can I get from each company?
Sure.
That's a good answer, though.
Another good answer would be, at every team meeting, every Tuesday, we meet with our office and share our newest listings. And in our office alone, there's 160 realtors that are selling in the Metro Milwaukee area. Don't you want me to share your listing with 160 agents that have potential buyers for your home?
Mhm.
I don't know, Shore West, their stuff, but it's another thing that could bring them comfort in knowing how, or giving them some sort of comfort in how big we are. 160 agents in this office alone. And then we have, 5 other market centers in the Milwaukee area. Okay. Tamika, do you wanna? Tanika, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Tanika. This hat covers my ears, so it's hard for me to hear.
It's okay. Everybody does it though. I'm always
Yeah.
in like Nancy. I do it all the time.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, you want to throw an objection at me?
Sure. I'll start with number one. So I was thinking, I'm sorry, going off of what Steph did there. I list with you, but I have other agents to interview.
Excellent. And other than having other agents to interview, is there any other reason why you wouldn't hire me today?
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, at this point in the presentation, when a seller says they would list with me and still go through with additional appointments, it's because they feel obligated to have the agent over. Is that the case here, Tanika?
Well, yes, I was shopping, so
Sure.
I wanted to make sure that I invited all my options.
Okay. So let me save you time as well as starting the process tomorrow to find you a buyer. After all, while we are waiting to be polite, there may be a buyer out there that has to buy tomorrow. We want them to know about your house, right?
Yes.
So let me do this. I don't mind. I've done it for many of sellers. I can call the other agent and this is what I'll say. They liked you and we're looking forward to meeting with you, and I convinced them to list with me. And if you have a buyer, we would love for you to bring them by. And of course, if they buy the house, then I'll naturally pay you part of my commission. This way, Tanika, I can save them the time of preparing, time away from their family, etc. I can make that call from here if you prefer.
Okay, that sounds good. In real life, that sounded good. That was good.
Okay, I got one that's not on there.
Okay.
So I want to see what the other agents will do, because I know your presentation, you went over that you had a weekly meeting, but I know this is a hot market, but I want to make sure I can get the most money that I can, or the most offers that I can on my property. How are you going to market this to get it out there besides the sign in your Tuesday meetings?
Oh, yeah, excellent. Yeah, great question. Well, here's my presentation of all of that. I have pretty photos and everything. So number one, I hire a professional photography company that will come out and do unlimited amounts of photos, everything that they can get to make sure that they get every single room and at every angle. They're also going to do a 3D virtual tour. So that will allow buyers to tour your home online. And so we're not having buyers that are really not interested in your property, so they can really pre-qualify the house before they walk in the front door. Also, that works very well with out-of-town buyers. If there are anybody that may be making an offer sight unseen, this allows them to really step foot in your home and have a virtual open house, as you will, without physically having to go through the property. Besides the professional photography package, I also will host open houses. So if you are comfortable with that, I'll do a Saturday and Sunday open house to allow for any buyers that may just see the sign from the street and walk right in that way. Let's see, what else? What else do I have on my thing? I have it all in the listing contract when I'm there, so I'm always prepared to read off of it. I also do what is called reverse prospecting. So the MLS has a system that you can actually email all of the realtors that have buyer searches that fit your property. So I will be reaching out to other agents to let them know about your house so they can then send it to their buyers.
That's just for my own sake, is that similar to like a broker's open type of situation?
It's actually just through MLS.
Okay.
So if you go to the search or the menu bar, there's reverse prospecting there. So you click on it and then you click on your listing and then it shows a list of realtors and you just select their emails and then it sends an automatic email. So,
It's not like, do they even do brokers opens or am I just taking this off of
Sometimes.
selling sunset type of
Yeah,
situation?
yeah, broker opens are typically for higher priced properties that take longer to sell. Yeah, how does that all sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. And also a big thing right now with our current generation that's buying is social media exposure. So I post on my Instagram, my Facebook, and LinkedIn, as well as adding you to my monthly newsletters that go out to all of my database to feature your home as well. Cool. You guys want to go off of any other ones on here? I think a big one right now is the commission objection because unfortunately homes are selling really easily right now due to the low inventory. So, when you're presenting the 6% commission, they know, well, I can list with Redefined Realty for 3.99%. Why would I hire you? So the other agent stated that they would sell it for less commission. This is page 2. So other than the other agent saying that they would offer you a discount commission, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today, Tanika?
No.
Great. So what I hear you saying is you desire to net the most money, right?
Yes.
And every seller that decides to choose me desires the same thing. See, many people think that they will get the same price regardless of who is conducting the negotiations, which we already know isn't true. Otherwise, top companies wouldn't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to hire the best negotiators. The other agent has already shown you their negotiation skills by giving up their own money. What will happen when you ask them to take care of your money? Yeah, and won't they, it only makes sense that they would give it away faster than they gave their own money away. I think you prefer a bulldog like me that will watch your money and negotiate on your behalf, right? So let's do the right thing and sign the contract so we can get you what you desire. That's one of my favorite ones. It's because and it's actually true, but we never want to talk bad about other brokerages or other realtors in front of our clients or ever really. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Redefined Realty isn't going to do a good job for you. They only care about getting buyers from their listings and that. That's not important to bring up. The importance is saying, they've already shown you their negotiation skills. they're reducing their commission, so they must not care about their money. How do you think they're gonna handle your money? That's one of my favorite ones.
I got another one. So like, what if you're like, okay, well, not so much, I'm not shopping companies, but I'm shopping the agent. So I got, next door neighbor told me to call you. However, my best friend said, no, call this person. You work for Keller Williams. What's gonna make me choose you over the other agent?
Yeah, so that's another reason why personality matching is so important, because hopefully by that point in the listing appointment, you've already shown them, or you've already made them feel comfortable because you're matching their personality, so that question won't even be brought up. So you're saying your
And my next door
friend,
neighbor sold the house,
oh,
but then and recommended you. But I also have my best friend who just got done using a Keller Williams agent from another office. What's gonna make me decide to see who I wanna choose?
okay. So besides that, besides wanting to see what that other agent has to offer, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today?
No, I guess I wanna make sure that you're the right fit for what I'm looking for,
Sure.
as far as my agent is concerned.
Okay. Well, is there anything that I have presented to you that doesn't please you, or is there anything more that you would have liked me to offer you today?
No.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I realized in the objectives that they have listed, that first question always asks, is there anything else? And I think that that's a powerful question to ask, because if you don't have an issue with me, then let's not create one.
Exactly. Yeah. On the video, it was commenting on the bottom with embedded commands. And that's an embedded command is, asking them that. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, this is your only objection. There's no more. I also like,
What about the think it over? Because
Yeah.
I know I've done that to people.
exactly, yeah. So Stephanie, other than wanting to think it over, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today?
No, not really.
Okay, great. It is important that you make the right decision. So what specifically do you need to think about?
Well, I just really would like to have like more of a private conversation with my husband and decide, this is the price we want to go with, or this, we want to pull the trigger now.
Okay. Well, if you feel comfortable, then we can sign the contract. You can allow me to take the paperwork, and when you call me tomorrow, if you have decided not to list with me, I will rip up the contract and mail it to you. If you decide to list with me, then I can get the sign up and the brochures made immediately. Doesn't that make sense? That way we all save time and you can get your house on the market quickly. I like that too. And I obviously wouldn't mail them ripped up paper. That's kind of weird. I was just
I
like,
think just so they.
Well,
Right.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
More information.
Because then I'm wondering, did they really? Is that looming contract out there somewhere?
Sure,
That's just
sure.
me and my
Yeah.
parents.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's a
And
good
then at
one.
that same time, even if you do rip it up and send it, you can say, I appreciate, the time that we spent together and allowing me to explain, and then they give them a card. And if you ever do change your mind or want to proceed forward, I'd be more than happy to help you.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. All right. The last objections are really about pricing because, she touched on it in the listing presentation, but I think it's important to go over objection handling around here even further due to our current market. So, Tanika, some of the things you, let's see. I think it's just like, they're not agreeing on a price, I think is really the objection.
I'm on page 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. This new one, the new packet. The Ignite one, yeah. I have this on. I'm just gonna stop my share. Actually, where am I? Eventually have one up. Okay, so Tanika, some of the things you can control during the selling process are the condition of your property, the availability of your home for showings, and your positioning on the market. In the end, value is determined solely by what a buyer is willing to pay in today's market, based on comparing your home to others currently on the market for sale. I don't determine value, and neither do you. The market determines the value. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So at that point, I would remind them of the comparable properties in front of them. This is what determines the market. I love when she says, I don't make the market, I only interpret it. So I'm here to provide you with the information, and then beyond that, the buyer is really the one that's going to determine the value. Okay, address pricing. That's a tough one. For me, it's kind of like a little attitude. Do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? I don't know about that one for myself.
What about that one if you know they're being a little bit crazy about what they think their house could go for?
Mhm. Yeah,
Then I think it might be okay.
sure.
But if it seems like a decent price, then I feel like that might not be needed to have to be. said, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. Yep. Okay, so next page, the CMA scripts. So Stephanie, would you like to obtain the highest price possible for your property?
Of course.
Okay. Yes.
People say no.
Yes.
No.
To achieve the highest price possible, you must have maximum exposure to the marketplace. The most important decision you will make in this respect is where you decide to price your property. The way most sellers establish their listing price is with a comparative market analysis, what we call a CMA. As you can see from this CMA, the average market time in your area is 60 days. This means that if you want to sell your property in less than 60 days, you have to be in the top 50% in terms of price and property condition. To sell in 30 days, you'll have to be in the top 10 to 15% in terms of your price and property condition. You will need to find out the correct numbers, yeah. Okay. Determining the list price.
So what did they say? What did they say? No, I don't. Trying to screw over my ex-husband because I gotta sell this property.
Oh, there's an answer. I'm like, why would anybody say no? There you go.
Oh, well, talk to your attorney about that, or your family therapist. Sometimes you guys will be therapists. That's part of our job description too. It's crazy. Okay, determining the list price. So let's see, Tanika, why don't you be the realtor in this one, and Stephanie be the seller.
So Stephanie, the most important decision you will make is where you will price your property. Pricing your home at fair market value will attract more buyers. Attracting more buyers normally results in a higher purchase price. Overpricing your home results in a longer market time and possibly a lower price. Would you like to price your property to sell quickly? Or will you price your property where it could take longer to sell?
I'd rather price it where it would go quick.
Okay, wonderful. The choice is yours. So.
Sign here.
Yep, let's get it done.
Good. All right. From the sale to buyer next.
What if they go, well, I would like it to go quickly, however, what if it goes too quick and I'm just not prepared to move that fast?
Well, the great thing about having a huge pool of buyers in today's market is we can be picky with our closing date. So what I can do is put in the private remarks of MLS that says seller's ideal closing date is XYZ. So that way we're setting the expectation with the buyers to let them know when we want to close. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And if there's ever a situation where we need to change that, there's options of doing what's called a post-closing occupancy, which means that if the buyers absolutely need to close in 30 days, they can, you can request a rent back, in essence, that would allow you to stay in the property and rent from the new owners for up to 60 days. So you're not kicked out on the street. Okay. So the last page, pricing objections. We need a certain amount for this sale to buy our next one. Will you, as a buyer, pay what the seller wants because that's the price they need? No, you'll pay what it's worth, right? That's what your buyers will do too. Can we price a little higher? Oh, you guys, I hear this so much. I'm like, no, you
After
can't.
all I just showed you.
Well, can we just price a little higher and drop the price if we don't get any nibbles on the high price? Okay, option 1. Stephanie, why don't you read that one for us?
Well, here's what frightens me about pricing higher. People who have seen many houses will find yours, but they won't look at it because of the price. We don't want to drive buyers away. We want to attract buyers. We want them to make offers. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And Tanika, what's option 2?
The greatest number of showings come in the first 3 weeks. If they see the house is overpriced, they walk away and we don't get them back. Let's get one or more people to make an offer right away. If more than one likes your price, they might even compete and drive it higher. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would. Another one that I really love that I recently heard is, Stephanie, wouldn't you like to have the option of looking over multiple offers versus receiving one offer that you are forced to accept? Yeah. Receiving multiple offers to say no to versus getting, we price it high, and then you only get one offer in 3 weeks and it's not the offer that you wanted to see. I like that one.
Or what about like, if we tend to go with a higher price, we could be on the market a little bit longer. And when it's on the market a little bit longer, potential buyers could wonder if there's actually something wrong with the home. And then if we have to drop the price, what does that look like?
Exactly. Yeah, and then in the eyes of a buyer, because I've worked with multiple buyers before, this is what they think. It's either, yes, the condition is poor, or the sellers are motivated, they're dropping the price, so I'm gonna lowball them. That's That's just the mind of a buyer. So,
Especially like when I looked at Realtor and like, you know, the house has been on the market for 80 days. Well, why has it been on the market 80 days when things like, I'll look at them and the next day I'll be like, ooh, that's cute. And then 2 days later, it's already got a contingent on it. And I'm like, well, then that one shouldn't have been on the market for 80 days. What exactly made it stay there?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. These are all great conversations. So those objections, that listing presentation, that's all for you guys to take home with you. I did want to touch on the disc profile to really highlight the personality importance of working with your clients and building the rapport. We always want to be good listeners and never talkers. I know that sometimes it's hard not to express your emotions and share opinions, but we're there for one reason only, and that's to serve our clients to the best of our ability and to really deliver an A+ customer experience. So I just realized we had some chats. Alyson, not that you can do anything to help, but just so you know, we cannot hear the video. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. All right, so the DISC, D-I-S-C. I really touched on this when I was at a conference 2 weeks ago in Florida for the Glover U Real Summit conference. And I went to this breakout session named Work Smarter, Not Harder. And it was all about, you know, are you going on a lot of listing appointments, but not getting listing contracts signed? Well, there might be a reason for that. And so that's what drew me to this. And honestly, I needed this class because it brought a lot of awareness to me that I needed to start focusing a lot more about matching to the seller's personality, because I'm very much of an I am, let's see, it's also otherwise known as an expressive personality. So I like to talk a lot. I like to bring emotion to things. I very outgoing. And so whenever I get an analytical person, which is a C, the conscious, oh my gosh, you guys, I can't speak. Conscientious, which is very analytical, reserved, precise, private, systematic. Us two just don't jive, because it's like they're all about business, and I'm like, oh, wait, like let's talk and let's be happy and let's. So I needed to learn how to match their personality, so that way I get, whenever I have a high C, I can get that listing contract signed, and that doesn't deter me from that. So let's start with D.
And are you gonna grab that kind of stuff from your phone call or determine that once you're there at the listing?
Both, for sure. Hey!
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Just want to pop in and say hi.
Yeah.
Cool. You're scripting.
Good, yeah, we're just finishing up. We're touching on personality matching,
Oh.
just as a bonus to the class.
Doing a bonus, okay.
Yeah,
So this is where we have our office, like our team meetings.
Cool.
yeah.
So what I can
So,
do is.
the D is
Yeah.
dominance, otherwise known as driver personality. So they're very determined, they're objective, independent, strong-willed, quick decision makers. That's a big one to point out. Quick decision makers, bottom line oriented, persistent, and efficient. Those are their strengths. So their challenges are they're insensitive, they're dominating, They're rushed and impatient, trouble with versatility, arrogant, confrontational, money motivated, move to fast leading carelessness. Okay. So are either of you drivers? No, okay. All right, so notes on how to deal with a driver is no chit chat or lengthy discussions. They just want to get it done. Show me the numbers, show me the stats, show me how much money I can make. And let's
Kind
go.
of like, I think I have like bits and pieces of each of them.
Sure.
Cause when you said I was the top one, I was like, nah, I'm more like the bottom one. Like I'm
Yeah.
real like even going, but I'm also get down to the brass tacks. kind of
Sure.
person.
So you might, I mean, there's, if you do the profile, there's sometimes you're both, you're 2 out of the 4. So you could be like they would say like ID or something, or I'm a DS, whatever. And then let them talk, but still ask questions. So the driver personality is more, you kind of want to sit back and let them talk more, but still control the conversation by asking the questions. Does that one make sense? So the I, the influence, their strengths are persistent, strong-willed, outgoing, spontaneous, relatable, exciting, fast decision makers, natural salespeople, easiest time succeeding in sales. And their challenges are they're outspoken, they need applause, too opinionated, lack of focus, manipulative, extreme emotions, usually always late, and they fear rejection.
Oh, my ex.
I am definitely a high I for sure. So how do you deal with I's? And multiple things at once. So they're very involved in multiple things at once. So they're probably going to want to talk a lot. So when they're expressing how much they love the house and everything that they've done with it, affirm that and not just, you'd probably lose them if you're like, okay, anyways, let's get to the point,
Because
you
you're
know.
the driver.
They'd be like, oh no, you don't care about me at all. I don't want to work with you. Compliment them on their style of the home. So probably more than you usually would. Affirm their choices of color and updates. If expressives can manage time well and focus, they can be extremely successful. Oh, okay, I don't know why I know that, but so yeah, the eyes are, really feed into that, I guess, with trying to still stay on task.
Kind of like their like ego stroke. They like to have the
Sure.
ego stroke
Yep, exactly. Like,
and hear
they
themselves
need
talk.
applause.
Mhm.
So definitely the eyes. Okay, so C, I'm not gonna try to say that word again. Another word is also, wait, C, I did put S. C, conscientious, steady. Wait, no, I'm sorry, I skipped S. Okay, we're gonna go to S. So the S is steadiness, otherwise known as amiable. So they are agreeable, friendly, great listeners. They value harmony, warm in personality, team players, selfless and giving. Their challenges are they seek acceptance, avoid conflict, slow in taking action, soft-spoken, hate rejection, lack ambition. So I think for steadiness, this is definitely important to note how quiet they talk. They're probably a little more slow talkers, quiet talkers. So then you're not going to be like, all right, matching their body language, I think, is the biggest one for this. Would you agree? The even-tempered, patient, humble.
Yeah, because I feel like you're gonna be one that probably is not gonna be super talkative. Um, They're gonna want somebody else to hold the conversation, like yet, or if it was me, hold the conversation, yet be brief with it too. Don't be over lengthy
Right.
or over pushy, because for me, if you're pushy, I'm gonna push back and then I'll be like, no, no, no. But if you just more calm with it, then, or not make me feel pressured, then I'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That makes total sense. All right, and then the C is the analytical personality. So their strengths are they're very logical, very punctual, very organized and precise. This also says private and systematic, reserved. Their challenges are they overanalyze everything. They avoid confrontation. They're chatty only if they're talking about something they're passionate about. It's probably their house. And low on emotion. See, that's why I don't get along with high C's. All right, so how you are going to be best matching this personality is you give them all of the information. So they're going to be very based on stats and numbers. Don't push the sale. And when they say they want to think about it, they really mean it. So don't be a pushy salesperson. So that's really all 4 of the personalities that you'll find when working with clients. And the last thing I wanted to note is I'm going to stop sharing my thing. How do I do that? New share? No, I don't want to new share. Oh my gosh.
On Zoom,
Yeah,
stop share.
where is it?
Should be on the toolbar where it has pause and
Yeah, it's not there.
should be like red with the square.
That's what I was, oh, there it is, stop share. Okay, cool, thank you. All right, so since we were talking about presentations and scripts and all of that, also comes presenting yourself. So how are you going to show up every day? With my conference that I went to a few weeks ago, he had something called the image check, and it was like, all right, well, check yourself to see if you're showing up every day the way that you want to be portrayed. How do you want others to look at you? And so I have 11 things here that are questions that you can ask yourself that make sure that you're presenting yourself in a way that your clients want to portray you. So the clothes that I wear, are you dressed to impress? Are your shoes on point? Is your handshake firm? How is your consistency of eye contact? Contagiousness of your smile? Boldness of your posture? The swagger of your strut? The cleanliness of your car? The scent you put out? How is your accessory game? Energy and enthusiasm you bring. And then I just have a note here that presentation gets you in the door. Sales skills get you signed contracts. So that's, I know that's really like image check 101, but for me now being in the business 5 years, this year, my intentionality is all about sales price, and I want to work with that next level buyer of price point. And so naturally, those people have more money, they buy nicer things, so it's like, I might have to go out and buy a designer pair of shoes, you know, it's just that's the reality of it. Because those people kind of judge you, you know, what purse do they have? What shoes are they wearing? You know, if I'm walking into $1 million house, I'm not gonna be wearing this. So just, I think it's common sense, but it's nice to have that reminder once in a while. Any other questions, you guys on Zoom? Any last minute questions before we wrap up? Chat. Cool.
I'm a mix of S and C, I know.
Yeah, okay.
That's me.
Yeah, if you didn't learn anything today, maybe you learned what personality you are.
Right, right.
All right, guys on Zoom, have a great day.